Morning, people. It's that time again in the morning. Just walked up the stairs. Look at the sunset. It's beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Right, which has got me to speak about something that I find really interesting, and that is the reason why I say, look, everybody is responsible. Everybody has to be responsible for their own actions. And I say that because every decision everybody makes has some effect. Some's a big ripple, some's a little touch, but everything leaves an effect. And I'm going to give you an example. 500 million people, this is a big example, live in rural India, and let's say they live near the top of the river. Now at the top of the river, the water is beautiful, it's crystal clear. Now they do their number ones and twos in the river because it flows down, it goes somewhere else. No consequence to them at all. But when it gets to the cities, with all those people every day doing their ones and twos, by the time it gets to the cities, the water's dead, the river is clinically dead, is dead. The temperature's rose, it's full of bacteria, it's dead. So it does have an effect, but to those people it doesn't. In exactly the same way, obviously I talk about business and I teach business at, I'm not saying my location, but I now lecture business at a well-established university. And if India was, for example, to put their resources into other technologies other than, for example, the space race, then it would transform them into, they're already one of the richest countries, but they're one of the richest countries because they ignore a large proportion of their population. Ignore as in it means nothing to them. They bear no bear no I don't know, whatever word it is, just bear no attention to them. Bring it back to yourself now. So this morning I didn't get the 6:27 train, I got the 6:41 train. But what that means is that I'm waiting at another train station for an extra 20 minutes. So if I get the first train, I get the earlier train to my next location, which gives me an extra half hour there. So if I chose not to be on social media for 45 minutes, so I woke up at 4:30, I'm on social media for 45 minutes, get up at 5:15, because I don't go to the gym on Monday. So I normally go to the gym, but I don't go to the gym on Monday. And so the knock-on effect is I lose my extra half hour where I'm going, and I want to take some photographs. So I've got my camera with me, and I want to take so I've lost half an hour now, and it's my own fault, completely my own fault, but it's a decision I made. Everything has a knock-on effect. And that leads me to what my video was on at the weekend about relationships. We choose to be in whatever relationship we choose to be in. We choose to be in it. We choose to pay more attention to certain things. We choose to ignore certain things. And the example I gave in the video was about a lady who I know who's in an abusive relationship, but she won't leave. She won't take the advice of any friends or anything. She won't leave because it's better for her and her psychology for her to be in an abusive mentally abusive, not physical, a mentally abusive relationship than it is to not be in a relationship at all. Because in her mind, it's almost better the devil you know. And that brings me to, like, when I talk about pupils who suffer with anxiety, yes, anxiety is real, and I'm not denigrating anxiety in any way. However, do you really want to be the person with the anxiety flag going, I've got anxiety, I've got anxiety, I've got anxiety. Feel sorry for me, I've got anxiety. Now, it's interesting that people use that flag when it suits them. And I'm not saying anxiety isn't real, because I've got anxiety. So, I remember years ago, another quick little story. I went to Birmingham City Council, and they were giving me a council flat. And they said, where do you want it? So I literally ticked every single, there's something like 30 something boroughs in Birmingham. And I ticked all 30 because I just didn't care yet. Because all I wanted was basically a place to build my dark room, and that's it really. Place to put all my DVDs. And I ticked, I can't remember the area, but I remember the housing woman looking and said, are you sure you want to live there? And I said, why? Why not? And she says, well, not many black people want to live there. And I said, why? She says, it's quite a racist area. I says, quite a racist area? I says, Birmingham doesn't have racist areas. She goes, no, it's quite a racist area. It's, she said, I'm just thinking for your safety. I says, my safety in Birmingham? The thought had never occurred to me. The thought had never even crossed my mind. Growing up in Birmingham, the thought had never crossed my mind that there'd be a whole area of Birmingham is racist. Now, of course it's true, but it's never registered to me. No, right, so I'm just thinking, how can an area of Birmingham be racist? Because surely racist people can be anywhere and everywhere, not just one area. But then, obviously, there are racist areas of London. There are racist areas, or people who have less. This is back in the 90s, by the way. This isn't now. But so ultimately, I had no anxiety about it until faced with the proposal that I could be moving to an area that's deemed as racist by the council. So I funnily said to her, I said, so what if you know it's a racist area, what are you doing about it? Do you get what I mean? What's Birmingham City Council's great idea to get rid of this racist area of Birmingham? I mean, obviously I wasn't an activist or any kind of intelligent being back then, other than I just wanted somewhere to live. Anyway, I didn't move there, and if you know me, I moved to Borsall Heath, which is probably the most unracist place in Birmingham. So, to go back to what I was saying, relationships. Now, let's say, for example, I did move there. The type of person I am, I would have formed relations. I would have made friends. I would have got to know people. I would have, because that's who I am. That's what I do. That's my personality. You can't tell me that this area is any more racist than the school that I went to, the junior school that I went to. Do you get what I mean? You can't tell me that. So, well, now you could tell me that. But then, so the anxiety thing, I just believe, let's not try to label ourselves certain things. I have anxiety about where's the toilet and where can I park. So I drove to Paris last year and asked my daughter, so long as I know I can get to the toilet and I've parked my car, I'm fine. No anxiety. But if there's no parking, I probably wouldn't even go. Obviously there's parking in Paris and obviously there's toilets, but what I hate is in big cities where they say, oh, you got to buy a coffee to go to the toilet. And there was one funny story where I went to some mechanical toilet that literally transformed when I was in there. And anyone who's been in one would know exactly what I'm talking about. So my end point today, peeps, is just be aware that every decision you make has a consequence. Every decision you make either has a consequence to you or a consequence to someone else. And that's what I think this big debate with Trump and Zelensky and then the next day Zelensky comes to the UK and gets a loan of 2.2 billion, which he ain't going to pay back. and we'll have to take in the form of natural resources. I could tell already that that's the deal. And we're not actually giving him 2.2 billion in cash, I don't think. I think we're actually going to give him 2.2 billion in weapons, and he'll pay us back with profits from his country. So again, every decision you make, what's he going to... someone who's at war borrows 2.2 billion. What's he going to spend the money on? Arms? Missiles? It's going to ultimately lead to someone's death. So that's probably why when he went to speak to Trump said no. And when he went to speak to Keir Starmer gives him a loan. Who knows? Only they know, these politics people. But I know for a fact he ain't getting 2.2 billion in cash, that's for sure. He'll get 2.2 billion in some old dusty missiles from a warehouse in Kent somewhere. Anyway, listen, like and subscribe, guys. See you in a bit. Bye.